Pathologic 3 is on the horizon, and with its demo, Pathologic 3 Quarantine, releasing on March 17th, the fandom is waiting with bated breath. We've been waiting a long time to see the return of Bachelor Dankowski, and not only are we getting our Daniil route, but IPL has made some big gameplay changes that I think you need to know before Quarantine is officially released. I also understand that this video is a little late, as when it's going to be published, Quarantine will be releasing that day, but you know what? Better late than never. Full disclaimer, I know I said need, but you don't really need to know any of this. You could just play the demo once it releases and enjoy the content. That being said, I like hearing myself talk, and in my opinion, there are more to these changes than just wanting to innovate the gameplay we've already seen from Classic and from Pathologic 2. In this video, we're going to go over the 4 major gameplay changes we know so far and what they indicate about the focus of Pathologic 3. One of the first major changes that we had confirmed by IPL after Pathologic 3's announcement was the timeline, or the lack thereof. In Pathologic 3, we will not be using linear gameplay the same way Artemy does. We will have the same 12 days, but we will be jumping around them as we make choices for the town and jump ahead to see their consequences. We don't know much more about how the time travel gameplay will work, but what we do know is that the main hub will be in the cathedral. This was confirmed during the Save and Sound audio showcase, where they showed us a bit of how the time travel mechanic could look visually. I think that this will change how the game is played, obviously, but I think this is an allusion to Dr. Dankowski's nature as an analyst. He is able to make choices and predict their outcomes based on his knowledge of the current circumstance. To me, this makes it feel as if while we as the player are time traveling around the 12 days, it might just be a line of thought in Daniil's head in, quote unquote, reality. Realistically though, what is reality? This is a video game, and the time travel bit looks really cool. We know Daniil's decisions are more of a macro town level versus the more individualized choices that Artemy makes. So at the least, allowing the player to time travel around will allow them to see, as Daniil, the full consequences of the decisions they make throughout the entire town, as his decisions tend to affect the entirety of the town as a whole. If we are playing as we did in Pathologic 2, it would be nigh impossible to see how our decisions affected every portion of the town. That all being said, I don't think we are seeing time travel in Quarantine. I could be wrong. Somewhere in my notes I have that we are for sure not seeing the time travel mechanic in Quarantine, but I don't really know. So I'm sure we'll hear about the time travel mechanic as we get closer to the full game's release. I also understand that footage has been out for a couple of days as some streamers got early access keys, but I've avoided spoilers at all costs, so I could be very wrong about this, but I'm not going to fact check it, so. You know what we have heard quite a bit about, though? The hospital. The first devlog we received was an entire trailer based around the new hospital and detective gameplay. In Pathologic 3, we will have access to the hospital in a new and investigative way. From what we can gather from the Quarantine trailer, every day the plague will mutate, and it will be up to us, as Dankowski, to study those currently infected and develop a vaccine based off of how the plague has currently mutated. Of course, every day this vaccine will only save the currently healthy people. The next day, when the plague mutates yet again, we will have to do the same investigative process over and over again for the newest victims. But we are not Artemy. These people do not know us and have no reason to trust us. The Quarantine trailer puts a lot of emphasis on this. When interviewing patients, we will have to do additional investigative work into their lives to ensure they are being honest and forthcoming with their symptoms and story. We saw a bit of this in the initial devlog, where we went into someone's house, looked through it, and gathered clues as to what could be causing their current condition. Not only is this gameplay edition reflective of Daniil's background as a doctor and a man of science, a researcher, but it is also reflective of his role within the town. Like I said, these people don't know him and they do not have a reason to trust him. So why would they ever be 100% honest with him? I mean, you could make the argument that he's a very accomplished doctor in a town during an epidemic, but yeah, whatever. The difference in town perception leads me to our next gameplay change: Psychosis and Apathy. We have seen so much footage of Daniil having to either threaten or shoot the townsfolk. Like I said, this is not Artemy. People are not going to give him the benefit of the doubt, especially when he starts testing his vaccines on people. But again, Daniil is not Artemy. Artemy has no problem cutting into people and killing them. I think this is for a variety of reasons, but my favorite interpretation is that he has a much more grounded relationship with death. Artemy does, that is. With the steppe culture, he probably has a very mature and healthy relationship with it, and sees it as part of life rather than, like his greatest enemy. Daniil is actively trying to fight death. That is his life's work. And now, when he is on the cusp of achieving greatness, he has to do the exact opposite of what this passion is. He has to kill people. We see when he wields his gun, his sanity takes a hit. This shows up in the audio as well as the visuals. With Artemy and Pathologic 2, when people attacked us, we kill them and move on. Daniil will have to be a lot more intentional about when and how he engages with the angry townsfolk. Too much shooting and he could send himself into psychosis. We've been told we won't have hunger and thirst meters like we did in Pathologic 2. I don't think this is because IPL wants to take it easy on us though. Credits to Sefi for this idea. Go follow her on Twitter, as she has a lot of awesome Pathologic takes. But like I said, I don't think this is because IPL wants to make an easy game. I think the difficulty that comes with balancing thirst and hunger will still be there, and I believe it will be with us having to balance psychosis and apathy. We clearly see what psychosis looks like, as when we are shooting or threatening, we cannot see the meter shift. I'm not quite sure what apathy looks like, but it could be that if Daniil does not make enough progress, he starts to lose interest and focus on some of his other tasks. Disclaimer, as I'm recording this, I do think that we see psychosis and apathy in the quarantine trailer, so a lot of this could have already been confirmed, but these are just my theories, so I'm gonna run with them, and then in about 12 hours, we're gonna see whether I was right or not. Daniil is obviously motivated because curing death is a cause that is really important to him, but he is also a high achiever. I could be making some big leaps here, but I could see Daniil as being one of those people that is really motivated by success and achievement. The more you get the dopamine hit from winning or succeeding, the more you work for the next win. If Daniil does not make any substantial progress in saving people, or at least preventing further death, then maybe his ability to time travel could be reduced, or his time spent during a certain day could be shortened. It's just an idea, and like I said, I think this might have actually already been fleshed out in quarantine early access, but I'm still going to say it because I like to listen to myself talk. And at the end of the day, I'm fairly confident that psychosis and apathy will be Daniil's version of hunger, thirst, and exhaustion. IPL is not going to let us off the hook or let us have an easy game. Last but not least is the Shabnak-Adyr footage we've seen. I'm going to refer again here to the different relationships with death that we see Artemy and Daniil both have. We know that Pathologic 2 was focused on Artemy's perspective and experience in the town and with the plague, so it follows that he would see the plague in a much different light than Daniil when it's physically represented. We can also make the assumption that the plague is likened, or even an equal synonym, to death for both of the protagonists. The plague is obviously killing people, thus it can be comparable to death. Artemy has a very grounded and mature understanding of death. It's something he has a religious understanding of, so although he's ready to kick this plague out of his town, he is able to understand death in the greater scheme of things and as part of the natural cycle of life. Daniil does not have this understanding. He is actively fighting death. Death is described to be his foe on several occasions. Of course he's not going to have a chat with it while it torments him with dead kids. He's going to shoot the damn thing. I think this ties hand in hand with the psychosis and apathy meter. As Daniil gravitates towards psychosis, this could potentially be one of the consequences of a heightened psychosis meter. The plague appearing more and more often, and appearing as the legendary and feared Shabnak-Adyr, the steppe demon, and chasing him around the town on the Gorkin. But that's all I have today. I just wanted to talk about some of the gameplay changes that we know have been confirmed, and we know we will see in Quarantine as well as Pathologic 3. I'm releasing it a little late. This was supposed to come out a couple days ago, but, you know, life. But hopefully you enjoyed and found something of value, and if you did, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe. I've been streaming the Bachelor route on Pathologic Classic, and although that game is so buggy that it makes me want to jump off a cliff, it has been so much fun. So if you'd like to swing by for one of those, we'd love to see you there. And we also have a Pathologic chat and my Discord, as well as other channels to talk fun gaming stuff, so you want to come hang out with us there, we would love to see you. The links for all of this will be in the description below. But anyways, thank you again. Oh, one last thing. Shout out to everyone who's subscribed to the Patreon. You make videos like this possible, and they get one free shot a month during a stream. So if that sounds like fun to you, head over to the Patreon and check it out. But thank you guys again. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.